Good morning, floss tube. Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates here. It is Monday, September 24th, 12 o'clock. Well, 12:01, I know. And in Odenton, it's 62 degrees and rainy. Another gorgeous day here in Maryland. So I spent the morning running some errands. Got all my errands done before noon, which makes me happy. So I thought I'd take a little break, sit down for a little bit, and do a little stitching with you. Catch you up on my week, what's going on around here. You all know what's coming up, so it's kind of crazy. But I wanted to start this video actually with a little bit of a sewing method, stitch in hand. Whoops, bounce you around a little bit because it wouldn't be one of my stitch with me videos if I didn't bounce you around. But do a little tutorial on the sewing method. If you watch Whistle Stop Stitcher, Jennifer, and if you don't watch her, please do so. She's wonderful. She's the one who owns the Whistle Stop Quilt Retreat in Sweetwater, Tennessee. She shows beautiful projects and beautiful quilts, and so she's a lot of fun to watch. But anyway, she's the one that had said that she really got a lot out of my sewing method tutorial in my last Stitch With Me. But she did have a problem with, she didn't feel like her stitches were laying neat enough. And so I told her that I would do another little tutorial giving some hints and tips on what I do to help my stitches lay nicely side by side when I'm working. Because a lot of what I do is just with one thread. I'm working on smaller count fabric, or is that larger count fabric? Well, where I just use one strand of floss. You know what I mean. So I told her I would do one where I'm using 2 strands of floss so she can see, kind of get some tips on how to get her stitches to look neat, that she's happier with them. So the project I'm working on is the Linen and Threads Mystery Stitch Along from 2017. This is one of my Mania whips. Well, it's been a whip and I worked on it a little bit in Mania. I think I got this band done in Mania. This is one of the few that I have that I actually am using 2 strands of floss. This is a fabric that I've had in my stash for a while. I don't know what it is or where it came from. It's a very soft, floppy linen, and it is, I believe, a 28 count, so I am using 2 strands of floss over 2. So the first thing, of course, is to make sure that you're separating out your floss, each floss strand individually, and then putting them back together when you thread your needle, and that you're making sure that the 2 strands are laying side by side when you start. And when you first start, you may have to play with them a bit to separate them and get them to be parallel. So one of the things that I do quite often when on this particular row, I've worked across left to right. Now I'm working back right to left to make sure that, so as it's coming out of the last hole, they're laying parallel. So whenever I start to go down in the next hole, I look and see, this is going to be hard to explain. It's going to be more of a visual thing. So if you're interested, please be looking up. I look and see how my floss are curving towards the needle. And by that I mean, so this one isn't really doing much of a curve at all, but you can see there's a bit of a twist that's starting right here where the strands of floss are laying across each other. I'm going to just go down and up like I normally do, sewing method. And you can see as these, and I hope you can see this, as they are starting to tighten up on the stitch, you can see they're parallel here, but do you see that cross right there that's happening? Now it doesn't look too bad, but it did cause a little bit of a twist just right there. And so there are times that I will mess with my stitches to get them to lay flat. So now, with that one, I just went down, did my regular sewing method. So let's look at the floss again. It's laying parallel here, and it's starting to twist towards the right. In order to help maintain the parallelness, and I think I probably just made up a word there, the parallelness of these strands of floss, I put my needle underneath, kind of lift it up. So before, instead of going just down into the fabric and up with my normal sewing method, I'll put my needle underneath the floss. And it's not really doing anything except kind of orienting this more towards the left. So, and that's the direction I want the floss to go. So you can see by doing that, it kind of, this twist that's happening here, it kind of stops it in its tracks and makes those strands lay parallel. So then I'll do my normal sewing method, and I have the strands laying parallel. There's no twist. And so pretty much all the time when I'm going back from right to left, I will be putting my needle underneath the floss. And that prevents the twist. Does that make sense? There are times when I can look at it and say, okay, there's not a problem here. I don't need to go underneath, but for the most part, I do. And it's really because I can see that floss. It's starting to lean into twist. So I'm always looking to see what's happening with my floss before I start the next stitch. And that might sound like it could slow me down a bit, but I really don't find that. Now I'm looking at my pattern. Which way do I want to go that I have the most to talk to you about? I'm going to skip over here because there's some other fairly decent size rows. If I continue down this way, there's rows that are just 2 stitches long, and I want to have a few more stitches to talk to you about. All right, so I'm going to be going now right to left with my bottom leg going right to left. So I look at my floss again, and again, it's kind of doing a kind of twist thing, but it's because my stitch is going is the one that's slanted to the right. I think this will work out. It will make it lay the way it's supposed to lay. Oh, and it helps if I go through the right holes. Hold on. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Don't you love it when your teacher goofs up? I am not too proud to say yes, I do goof up. We all goof up. All right, so that put an extra little twist in my floss. Get this out of the way so I can see where I'm going. Okay. So I have 5 this way. So when I'm going this way, again, I can look and see it's kind of falling back, but because I'm doing the right to left, or the right leaning leg, that is actually, let's look at this. This is good. So because I went right down, I didn't do an underneath or anything, you can see a twist starting. Can you see that? The twist happening right there where the floss is coming out of the hole. So let's complete that. So that brought the twist onto the top. So that, with that one, because it was just right there, the twist just happened right there, I'm able to use my needle and, oh shoot, I'm sorry. I'm able to use my needle and straighten it out. Okay, so let's look at this now. The floss is leaning back that way, right, to the right, but you can see the twist, like it starts parallel coming out of the hole, but the twist is going that way, right? There's starting to be a twist. So I'm not just going to go down in, well, I could just go down, I think, in the hole, because it's going to pull it around so that it lines up. Let's go ahead and do that and see if my theory's right. I could, okay, so here's my options. I could just go down, right, and up, just as my normal sewing method, and the floss will follow along. Or I could put my needle underneath here, so I'm pulling the floss over in the right direction, so that when I do my up and down, it's laying perfectly flat. The other way I think it would have done that as well. This one, it's starting to twist, but I'm going to do it just without going under the floss and see what happens. All right, there was starting to be a twist, but it's actually underneath the fabric. I was able to get the stitch in, but then it kind of puts the twist. You can see it's coming out of the fabric flat, but then it's twisting the other way. So when I see something like that, I'm going to kind of fling my thread around, so I've basically undid that twist, and now my needle is going underneath and through. Now, this may seem like a lot to process as you're stitching, but it really gets to be, and okay, so again, I'm going to be going back the other way now. My floss is leaning to the right. I'm going to be starting to make the left hand legs. I want the floss to be like this when I come down, when I do that stitch. So I started to say, this may seem like it would really slow me down, but it becomes so second nature to notice what your floss is doing that I just kind of automatically know what I have to do to make it lay flat. Does that make sense? Now, there are times that just the process of doing this can put a twist in that kind of you don't see coming. I would say is unavoidable, but I guess nothing's really unavoidable in cross stitch. So I'm going to work one stitch at a time going across this row, partly because I want to get over here, but partly so you can see if you're working with variegated flosses and have to stitch one stitch at a time, what happens. Okay, so again, let's look and see what's happening. I have my floss coming parallel out, and then there's a twist here. So I could just untwist it, just do a little twist with my needle and untwist it. That's probably the easiest way. Let me put the twist back in. So I'm going right to left. I can't get the twist back in now, so we're just going to go with it. All right, so now I'm going to do the other leg, and I'm leaning, my floss is leaning that way, my twist is starting here. I'm going to come underneath, and that helps to straighten that out. And then I'm going to come up where I came up on the last stitch. Okay, floss coming out parallel, starting to twist. If I bring it, my needle underneath, and work it that way, that is going to flatten out the floss. Now this one, it's leaning to the right. You can't really see a twist, but there's a twist starting there, but if I just went down and up, this is going to end up twisting and laying like this, and the twist will be down here. So this is one where I would kind of untwist it again before I stitched to get that twist out of it. And they're not always perfect, and I don't worry about that a whole lot. So this one seems to be pretty good laying there like that, so I'm just going to go straight down. All right, now I'm going to be hopping, let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm going to be doing stitches down, coming down this way. So grab my needle, I'm going to come down here. I want to try and get to a point where I'm kind of changing directions, because there are times when the twist seems to be a hard enough twist, and I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's so twisted that there's not a whole lot I can do about it, except when it seems like this is so twisted and I don't want to fuss with it, I will just put the needle down through the hole and not come back up with the normal sewing method, and just drop it and let it untwist. So I hope that makes some sense. I appreciate that you may have to watch this several times to really get the sense, but the main thing is that you just kind of, you really just watch what your floss is doing before you take it down into the next hole. Let me see, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that is my tips and tricks for getting your stitches to lay flat. I'm going to kind of move into just a stitch with me, and hopefully if it happens where there's, see, that's kind of a bad twist there. But I might have been better off dropping, but I didn't. So anyways, if I come across a place where I think I need to talk about the way I'm doing it again, I will stop and do that. But for now, life happenings. What's going on in your life, Jan? Oh, well, quite a bit actually. See, that one didn't turn out so well. But I can usually fuss at it with my needle a bit and get them to lay parallel. Hawaii. Have I mentioned I'm moving to Hawaii? Yeah, it's happening. So, we do finally have some more firm information. Mike found out he doesn't need to have a polygraph or a security interview, another one, because since he did just get rehired last year, a year ago, February, this past February, then it's been recent enough that he doesn't have to go through that again. Which means that was the last, you see that? I just split that floss right there. How annoying. That was the last big thing that needed to be checked off his list of things that happen before orders get issued. So what should happen this week is he will get an email saying he has been officially selected. Everything checked out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so they send an email saying that, making sure he's still interested, and if so, then let's start talking dates. We have his branch chief actually, and his branch chief's wife are they also got a job for Hawaii. So, a job in Hawaii, and she's a little bit further in the process. She had gotten the nomination email at the end of last week, so they printed out the paperwork so Mike could see what to expect. So we spent, and actually it has in this email, when do you want to start out there? When do you want to pack out? When do you want to go out for your house hunting trip? So we looked at our calendars, looked at everything that's happening, assuming that he gets that email this week. We are looking at returning from Arizona on October 13th, leaving for our house hunting trip on October 26th, returning from the house hunting trip. It's only 10 days, so that puts us like, I don't know the date, somewhere in the beginning of November, scheduling the pack out of our household goods for November 7th, although from what he said this morning, instead of 30 days for the pack out, it might be 45 days. So we might have to do that before we go out for the house hunting trip. Let's see. So back in November, pack out either before we leave or when we get back. And then leaving for Hawaii like December 4th. We were still planning on stopping in Phoenix to let the cats... Do you see how that's all twisted there? That was one where I meant to show you more. Let me undo that. See if I can undo it without snagging the row above. So, still going to stop in Phoenix, spend a couple days there with Mike's parents, decompress a little bit, let the cats decompress a little bit before we take that final leg out to Honolulu. So let me go ahead and come up here where I was, and let's look at the floss. Of course, now that I already did the stitch, the floss is looking pretty good. But I think it was probably more twisted when I came up the first time, and so when I did the stitch, there was a harder twist in it. I would have been better to drop. It's starting to lean over that way. Let's see what happens. Since it's going right to left, yeah, it's straightening out this time. Anyways, it would have been a place where I would have dropped the floss, the needle below, to get the hard twist out of it. So, it looks like beginning of this December. You know, it may slide a little bit depending on how things get scheduled in the end. But I would say our lease at the apartment runs out like December 11th or 12th. And these ones aren't turning out too well. And so we definitely want to be out of here at the beginning of December. Need to be out of here at the beginning of December. Also, when we... Oh, I just squeaked a little bit. Also, when we come back... let me check this here. Okay. That's better. Also, when we come back from Arizona, hold on, I have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When we come back from Arizona, like we get back on the 13th, the 15th we'll be taking Sasha over for his titer test. Titer test number 3. It will take 2 weeks before we hear back, at least 2 weeks before we hear back on the results of that. We hope to know before we fly out for the house hunting trip whether he's passed or not, because if he hasn't, then we will take some time to... Okay, so I'm messing around with this because do you see... Let me see. I have a twist up here. It's leaning that way. I need to have it so that it's coming left to right. When I do it, it's going to be twisted. So I'm trying to untwist it, and it's just not really behaving the way I want it to. So this one I'm going to be a little bit more brutal with to get it to lay flat. And again, this seems like it's takes more time, but it really doesn't once you get the flow down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm doing these individually because I need to get over here and do some rows up and back there. So anyways, if we know about Sasha before we go, whether he's passed or not, then we will take the time to visit the quarantine facility while we're out there. Kind of introduce ourselves and get a feel for what it's like, what we can expect. Talk to them about what they can expect and all that kind of stuff. So, as we expected, things are going to start to move pretty fast here through this last quarter of the year. Happy, if this all works out, thrilled that we will be out of here before winter really sets in too badly. We spent this weekend, well, like if you saw my Instagram post and my little Instagram TV thing, Friday I pulled all of my yarn out of all of the different spaces it's hiding in. You know, bins here, packages there, big bin over there. I just pulled it all out into the living room and started going through everything. I had a lot of yarn like stacked on shelves, and I have one of those like hanging cubby things in my closet. Actually, I have a couple. One holds clothes, the rest held yarn. So I had a lot of yarn on my shelves that from different purchases that I just hadn't gotten put away. From when I was teaching down at the store in Annapolis, like little bits and pieces of yarn that I hadn't put back away, needles scattered hither and yon. Actually, that reminds me, I still have a couple needles in my makeup drawer that I need to put away. Yeah, stuff like that. So, I just got it all out into one place and went through it and decided what was going to stay with me in Hawaii, what I wanted to get rid of, what I wanted to put into their own bins to get stored in the RV. And I'm storing 4 bins in the RV instead of taking it with me to Hawaii. So, yeah, that was Friday. That was a full day on Friday, and I have a clothes basket worth of yarn that I am selling. I'm trying to sell. If any of you are interested, it is going to be, or it's on a Facebook group called Yarn Hoarders Destash. So I'm hoping that, I've already sold some of it. I'm hoping most of it will go. If I have to lower prices, I will, but it's already very, very good prices. Most of it, I mean, it's all high-end yarn. It's, a lot of it is sweater quantity. There's some single fingering weight yarns on there. But anyway, so I got all that sorted, and that felt good. Yesterday and Saturday, Mike and I spent the day going through closets, going through clothes, going through the spare bedroom closet, and deciding what is going to, there's a church here, a church that I used to go to that has a garage sale twice a year, a huge one, where they raise a lot of money. What am I doing? I'm trying to do this. So we have stuff we're donating to that. Other stuff we're going to try and sell. Stuff we brought out of the RV. We spent a portion of the day Saturday in the RV cleaning it out. Mike went through all the basement bins and decided what he can no longer needs, what he can get rid of, what he needs to keep, all that kind of thing. So now we're in the process. Tomorrow I'll be taking a bunch of stuff over to the church. Yeah, just by the time we leave on Saturday, except for the stuff we have to sell, we're going to be in good shape. So when we come back from Arizona, We really don't have to worry about much of anything as far as cleaning out or organizing what we have here. Now, granted, we've already done this twice already, so there's not a whole lot more things we had to worry about, but it's good to know that it's, you know, it's just kind of done. There's still some stuff I need to get organized and put away, especially on this desk. And the next thing we have to decide is what stays with us after the major pack out. So they do the major pack out where most of the household goods go 30 to 45 days before we leave, and then another what's called an express pack out at some point right before we leave, but I don't know yet how soon before we leave. So there's still some question marks, but we feel like we know what our future holds now, and that's definitely a good feeling. So yeah, things are moving along. We are ready to get on the road, though. I started up our other YouTube channel for the RV stuff. Not really just for the RV. It's going to be any traveling, because while we're in Hawaii, we won't have the RV. So it's just general travel. And it is called Sunsets in Sangria, our travel diary. Don't have anything up yet. We recorded some video on Saturday when we were at the RV. We have to do an introduction clip too still that I hope to get done Thursday. And I hope to get both of those up Friday so that they are done. So we have something out there. And then as we go along this trip, we'll be recording more and doing different things and hopefully being able to upload. I expect most of our clips are going to be a lot shorter than what we do here on FlossTube. So hopefully that will make the upload process doable from my iPad. It needs to be 15 minutes or shorter to be able to upload from my iPad, because it has to go across the cloud, and the cloud yells at me if it's longer than 15 minutes. So there you go. Uh-oh, I'm off. Oh, this is supposed to be down here in the middle one of that. All right, so that means I'm ending it here. 33 minutes. That's good. It was good to get my hands back on this little piece again. So I hope what I was showing you made sense. If you still have more questions, if you want to see me do more, I have no problems continuing to stitch. You can see that it's not a perfect science. There are still times when I have to fuss a bit with getting things to lay flat. And sometimes I'm in a mood to do that, and sometimes I'm not. I am by no means a perfectionist. I think I've said that before. So your mileage may vary. You may find that you need to fuss more. You may find that you need to slow down, that you're not as happy with the stitches. You know, and there is going to be a certain amount of time. Oh, I'm sorry. There's going to be a certain amount of time that you have to, you know, kind of get a feel for paying attention to your floss and what it's doing. But I really think if you keep at it, you will find that it does start to move along faster, and it's as fast as just the sewing method without paying attention, or the sewing method just using one strand of floss. So anyways, guys, I hope this helped. I will be back tomorrow with my FlossTube update. And I think that's about all for now. I will talk to you later. Hope you find your joy today. Have a good one. Bye-bye.